What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Barber's channel. Thank you for tuning in. So, let's talk about it. On my channel, I typically talk about barbering and entrepreneurship, right? And sometimes like I'm cutting hair, I'm working, I'm doing what I got to do, and I'll come across like folks that are like 19, 20, 21, and it reminds me like a lot about myself and things that I was going through around that time frame. And made me think the other day, not everybody has the opportunity to figure out what they want to do sooner, meaning like at 19, 20. It takes time for people to figure that out. They got to go through certain jobs, they got to go through certain times where they have highs and lows, ups and downs. They realize they got to make more money, so they decide to go back to school. Everybody's different, everybody got a different path, right? But I think for myself, like I became fed up sooner than later, and maybe that's what you need to go through. Maybe you need to be more fed up sooner to figure out what you want to do. Now I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, barbering was my passion from day one, because it honestly wasn't. It grown into a passion for me. But I had a mentor, a slight mentor, because I just start. I want to say I had a mentor after, because I didn't know what a mentor was at the time, but I had a little bit of guidance because my barber at the time put it in my head about being a barber. I never thought about it before. Cut a couple heads in high school in my garage, and that was it. But because of him, because of his wide, he was around 45. I was 19. Because of his wise words and his experience, and then got me into a better place over the years. So if you're typically, if you're like 19, 20, even 18, and you're trying to figure out what you want to do, it doesn't always have to be your passion. You don't have to be in love to figure out, I want to make money here. Sometimes all you have to do is commit. Commit. And then I would say, though, if you choose a career, any career that you're doing, anything that you're doing, always think about 20 years future. I know a lot of people don't like to think about the future like that, because they're not like, hey, I'm doing my thing now, or I'm living now, right? But you got to think about the future. You got to think about the plan, and because what that's gonna do is, just say, I'm gonna say you wanted to own a certain business, or you want to be in a certain profession, right? And you got to know what that profession is going to do in 20 years, or at least have an idea where you think you might be. Is it going to create more time for you to be able to create a business out of that craft or whatever it is? And are you able to like take more time off later on? Are you able to hire other people to do what you do? Does the business just needs you, absolutely you, to run successfully? You know what I mean? Them are the questions that you got to ask yourself, because and the true matter of the fact is, as we get older, we want more time, because we grow, we get families, we get, you know, older to do other stuff. You know what I mean? We can't just work, 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 work. You want to take time off, and you have to ask yourself, is this career that I'm choosing to do for 20 plus years, is it going to allow me the time and the income to be able to have more freedom in the future? That's the main thing I would ask yourself if you're stuck right now. I looked at barbering because Diego, the one, my mentor at the time, he did let me know, you're not going to start making money till you're in your 30s, right? And so that went into my mind, my brain said, okay, I'm gonna have to put some years into work. My working years are gonna have to be put into this to grind, to make some money, and that's what happened. What he said absolutely came true, which I'm thankful for and I'm okay with. My journey was my journey, but you got to find what you could do in the next 20 years, or what you could put yourself to do continuously for the next 20 years, and grind on that. You know what I mean? Now, today's world was different from my world I grew up in. Information was slower. It didn't travel as fast, to ear, to eye to eye. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have all this information around this. So I'm saying 20 years, but that was my growth time. I'm saying for you, it could come sooner. You know what I mean? And I believe it will, because of the information that we have today and knowledge that we have today. So If you're stuck, you're in your early 20s or whatever age you are, um, like I said, find something to focus on and focus and dedicate day after day, time after time, and just put everything you have in that thing. I'm gonna give you a quick little story, and I mean story, just a situation I had that kind of proved to me that I was on the right track. All right, so I was 20 years old at this time, standing behind Diego. I got to know his clients coming in. I would have my little apron on. Wasn't even cutting hair, but I had an apron on, sweeping hair. And this older Hispanic guy comes in. I forgot his name, but he's one of Diego's regulars. And one day he asked me, he goes, "So do you have a plan B?" And I'm 20, and I already like went to school and figured out I didn't want to go to school. I even signed up when I become a master at this plan A. And and my baby's right there. She in the back. She cutting in the video, but it's all good. Um, this is way before, and this happened way before I had her. So um, I'm in. He asked me, and I told him, I said, my plan B is my plan A, and I said, no disrespect. I understand what you're saying, and I understand what you're telling me, but I said that's not my plan. My plan is to master this craft, and when I master this craft, when I have enough confidence to master it, I don't know how long it's gonna be, but my game plan is to focus on something else. Maybe open up another business. Maybe do something else. Maybe go back to school. Do something else. Maybe I might enjoy. So that was the game plan for me, and that's what I told him. I said, I don't. This is my plan B. Plan A. My plan A is my plan B. My plan B is my plan A. You know what I mean? I'm gonna make this successful. I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? I'm gonna commit. And he just looked at me and goes, "Damn!" I think he was so surprised at that confidence that I had that he just didn't know what to say and he didn't say anything. But it was all good. It wasn't no love lost. It wasn't no disrespect. It was straight up understood. And if I would have seen him to this day, I could told him about my success now. You know what I mean? And pretty sure he'd been proud. You know what I mean? But yeah. So basically, with that short story I was telling you is commit to something. Trust yourself that you're gonna commit, and just stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it. Stay with it until you figure out what's the next plan. You know what I mean? But figure out something you want to do, because like I said, I cut men, women, children, and a lot of these guys that come in that are younger age, after high school, they're just kind of not everyone. A lot of them are going to school. They got a game plan and this and that. But some of them are, some of you guys are just not knowing what to do and trying to figure out what to do. And then, I just say, man, my little 2 cents, if I could put it in, just find something. Look at the 20 years later, though. Like, always look out the 20 years later and see if that fits, that you think that would fit your lifestyle in the future. People don't like thinking about the future because it's scary, because we don't know, right? But just imagine years later, can this profession give you time, money, and freedom? Or is it going to keep me locked where I'm at right now and there's no growth? So just ask yourself that question. Play with it, man. It's fun. Once you get into the mindset of trying to create and trying to figure out what to do and do this and do that, like, things get fun, man. Like I said, once I started thinking about barbering on a serious basis and I quit my job because they wouldn't let me work part time and this and that, I cut all bridges, man, and I went for it. I went 100, and I said I'm gonna make this happen. And like I said, it took years though. They don't have to take years for you. But all right, you guys, I don't want to make this video too long. Check out my Instagram on I have your barber on IG. I'll follow you back. I'll follow you back on here as well. So I hope that little bit of information helped you, man. If you're kind of lingering, if you're kind of stuck, you're not knowing what to do, it doesn't have to be barbering. Because like I said, I'm a barber entrepreneur. I got another business on the side. I've been doing barbering for 20 years. I had a hot dog cart at one point in 2010, 11. I had a vending machine. I had a pressure washing business. You know what I'm saying? So I did a couple of things to get it out of my system, but it took me some time to know what I really want to do. Now that I've been barbering for this long and I'm doing my thing, hey man, I got another business that's rolling, and there's possibilities that I might open up another business. You know what I mean? Because it's fun. Because I know